Welcome to Fantasy Sports Daily, powered by FantasyGuru.com. Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 a.m. Pacific. Ray Flowers breaks it all down for you from a fantasy sports perspective.
Happy Cinco de Mayo. That's all I got to say. Thanks for watching today. Maybe not. Happy Cinco de Mayo. I'm Ray Flowers of FantasyGuru.com. As you can tell from my voice, I feel okay, but my voice is kind of so we'll see how this goes. It's kind of hit or miss. I'll probably choke up a couple of times. It always improves as the day goes on. I got a little bit of a cold here. Nothing significant, but it always kind of gets me in the morning for those people saying, Ray, this is midday. What are you talking about? It's 9 o'clock West Coast time. I've been up on the computer since 7, so I've been working for 2 hours, but still got the gunk in my throat, so we'll do our best to get through it. Again, I'm Ray Flowers at FantasyGuru.com. By the way, may the 4th be with you. I'm still celebrating. For those of you that are Star Wars fans, even though that was yesterday, again, happy Cinco de Mayo today. I plan on having a couple cervezas later, maybe a torta, maybe a burrito. We'll get something involved. I wonder if you will too. Hopefully you'll enjoy yourself. Be safe, all that kind of good stuff. I am Ray Flowers. Follow me on Twitter, X, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, all those places at the Ray Flowers. Follow this show in all the places that you're used to hearing me say. FantasyGuru.com, click the Elite Plus tab at the top of the page. Type in Fantasy Sports Daily to your podcast network. YouTube.com/@ElitePlusNetwork. Facebook.com/FantasyGuruHQ. Twitter X @FantasyGuruSite. Those last three, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, you can watch live. You can always watch on demand too. But in those spots, you can leave comments and questions, such as this one from John G. Any word about Jackson Merrill? I haven't heard anything official yet. No. The anticipation is that he will be active this week, but I haven't seen anything yet. It's still really early West Coast time, 9 o'clock here. But that's an example of what you can do. You can leave those comments and questions throughout the show, and we'll address them. Don't forget, you can go to FantasyGuru.com right now. Click that subscribe tab in the top right corner and get signed up for any and all of our products. And we got a lot of them. Excuse me, here we go. Oh, boy. The football product is available right now. We're still covering basketballs, even though we're in the playoffs. We're still covering hockey. We have Sloppy White doing the horse racing. For those of you interested in the big three, we just had the first race at Churchill Downs. We'll have 2 more. Sloppy White covering the horse racing. All the non-traditional sports, basically everything that isn't football or baseball, you can sign up for the MVP plan right now. You can sign up again for the football package. We've got dynasty rankings updated, rookie player profiles. We've talked to all the guys here on the show about all the work they're doing with the draft. Rookie drafts are starting right now, dynasty leagues, all that kind of stuff. We can help you at FG. And then, of course, the baseball product. You can have any questions about any of this stuff. Send a note to support@fantasyguru.com, support@fantasyguru.com. Send that note in, all that kind of good stuff, and we'll be happy to help you out there. The baseball product includes seasonal, DFS, and wagering. We just released the rankings update. We do this the first of every month. Update all the rankings, tear it all down, build it all back up. I saw a couple questions in Discord saying, hey, Ray, do you want A or B? Again, please check the rankings first. That's what they're for. If you have follow-up questions, obviously happy to answer those for you over at fantasyguru.com. And you do get access to all the Discord rooms for whatever product you sign up for. So you sign up for the basketball product, boom, you get the basketball Discord. You sign up for seasonal baseball, you get the point. Click that subscribe tab in the top right corner of the page. Send a note to support@fantasyguru.com. Before we dive into things today, Rubby17 says, love the Cubs backdrop and the Empire Strikes Back sweater. Yeah, got my AT-AT and my speeder. Yeah, it's a Christmas sweater, but who cares? I'm wearing it anyway. And then the Cubs backdrop there. For those people looking here, we've got, what is that, Fernando Rodney right there? I think that's Fernando Rodney. I learned how to point right here. There's Fernando Rodney. It's the Cubs there winning some. Yeah, I figured the Cubs are playing some good baseball now, right? So let's talk a little. We're not really talking about the Cubs per se today, but we're throwing a picture up there. They got a chance to win that division. What are we talking about on the show today? Here we go. We are talking about some player news, of course, lots of injuries, some good news and some bad. Some guys coming back from injury, some guys dealing with injuries, some performance updates. The majority of the show today, this is the only day for those of you that are new, and tell a friend if you are, or if you've been here for a while, tell a friend. If you're new, welcome. This is the only day of the week where we only talk baseball. 1 hour roughly, Monday through Friday. We start at 12 o'clock Eastern. You can, again, find the show stored in all those places I mentioned. I'll usually go about an hour, sometimes 50 minutes, sometimes an hour and 10. There's no rule, but about an hour. Monday is the only day that we talk baseball the whole show, and it's the only day where I'm solo the whole time. On Tuesdays, we have Armando Marsal. On Wednesdays, we have Armando Marsal with Justin Fensterman to talk about basketball. Thursdays, Tyler Beaker. Fridays, Russell Clay. Those guests always come on about a half hour through the show, 12:30 Eastern Standard Time. We're back to normal this week in terms of the shows. This show is on Monday through Friday at 12 o'clock Eastern. On Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio, Jeff Mann's Elite Sports Show is on 3 to 6 Eastern, Monday through Friday. I'm on with Jeff on Wednesdays. And then Justin Fensman and I are on Elite Sports Game Time tonight from 8 to 10 Eastern Time. So we'll talk about those news updates and all that. Then we'll talk about the 3 leagues, where 3 of the expert leagues I'm in, where we ran labor this weekend. We'll go through all the particulars, who was added, why were they added, were they good price points? We'll talk about all that in a bit. All right, let's see here. Tony W., before we get started. NFBC, I have 56 reserve spots on my 37. I'm very confused by this. I guess you're just combining all your teams together. Okay, now I get it. 67% of your players are on the injured list. Wow. In the NFBC, that's obviously an industry league. Tom Kess, Greg Ambrosius, great guys. Used to work with them at the NFBC. That league has no bench, it has bench spots, but no injured list spots. All the leagues I'm in, except for one, have injured list spots. The one league where I don't have injured list spots, we draft 32 roster spots, so we have a couple extra spots to handle the injured list. But yeah, almost every league has at least 2, if not 5, something like that, injured list spots. Tony's situation here with these teams, it's really tough. And we'll talk about some guys dealing with injury. Like if it's Corbin Burns, you hold on to him. If it's Grayson Rodriguez, I don't think you can hold on to him. And it's tough to let these guys go because you let them go in a league that has no injured spots, which, by the way, in my opinion, every league should have injured spots at this point. It's craziness not to have it. Because what happens is Tony or someone else drops Grayson Rodriguez because they can't wait 2 months for him to return. Then someone picks him up in 2 months, and then they get an all-star second half out of him. And some people say that strategy and all that. Okay, I get it. I don't buy it. So I think every league should have injured list spots, but that's me. Spent hours on FAAB last night getting my starting lineups. I hope it went well, Tony. It's a battle. It's a grind. And oftentimes, honestly, the person that emerges victorious is the person that grinds it out every week. Because we'll see this as the year goes on. Some teams will start to fade out, right? People won't be as engaged. Fantasy football will really start to go to the fore. If you continue to put that time and energy in, hopefully you get a win, place, or show. So we'll keep a good thought for you there, Tony, in all your leagues. Okay, let's dive in and talk some baseball news. Corbin Burns is going to miss some time with a shoulder injury. And Phil Backer and I were talking about this over the weekend, our producer at Sirius XM and the guy that does our IDP football. He also does cheat sheets for baseball from time to time for DFS. And we were jokingly talking on text over the weekend, and when this news came out with Corbin Burns, and I jokingly said, is anyone going to make 30 starts this year? I mean, if anyone was looking at a 30-start season, it's Corbin Burns, right? The one thing with Corbin Burns is he takes the ball, gives you 185, 90 innings as a baseline. Here we go. He's got a shoulder issue. He's going to miss his next start. Now, the team is not saying he's going to end up on the injured list. They haven't put him on the injured list yet. So in theory, he could skip one start and come back. You know how these things go. Cole Ragans, who we'll talk about in a few minutes, that's what he's doing, skipping a start and coming back. So it is absolutely possible that someone does that. Okay. You can't trust that Burns is going to make his next start. I'm hopeful that Burns will make his next start. Can't drop Burns no matter what your scenario is, even if you're in the NFBC with no injured list spots, can't drop Burns. We just got to play this out. They're saying that it's fatigue, and that there's, you got to be smart about this. If Corbin Burns, who's pitched for a decade, who knows his body, obviously, if he's feeling fatigue and he feels it kind of coming on or just not right, it's smart for him to say something to the team. It's smart for them to skip one start to save 5 at the end of the year or whatever, right? You got something you're dealing with, you push through it to be a tough guy, maybe you pull something, hurt something, and then you do miss those 5 starts. So missing a start, again, I don't look at guys and expect 34 starts anymore. We're not in that world, right? 30 starts, 29 starts, 28 starts, if we get that many out, if we get 28 starts out of Corbin Burns, it's a win at this point, right? So let's hope that this is what we're hearing. The problem with this story is we've heard this story so many other times, and so many other times the story doesn't end well, right? Again, there's no actionable data right now with Corbin Burns. You hold on to him, and we'll see how this goes. Tori Lavello also said that today Ryne Nelson is going to start for the Diamondbacks. So remember, Ryne Nelson did this last year, where he came on, was put in the rotation, didn't start the year in the rotation, came into the rotation at one point, and was very effective down the stretch for the Diamondbacks. He's been pretty effective this year, minus an outing or two as well. I don't know how deep he can go to a game. He's been pitching out of the bullpen, so it's not fair to look at him and say that, he's going to go out there and throw 95 pitches today. He's expected to be able to throw about 80, though. So, maybe he's able to go deep enough in this game against the Mets to qualify for a victory. Little bit of a, change in role here makes it a little concerning to use Nelson today. Unfortunately, if they stay on turn and Burns misses another start, it would appear that Nelson's next outing would be against the Dodgers. Very lukewarm addition at this point, Ryne Nelson. If Burns blows out, if Burns is out long term, Nelson's really intriguing. Right now, it's kind of difficult because of the fact that, again, Burns might be back next, and then the next outing is indeed against the Dodgers. Angelo says, Schwellenbacher and Max Meyer potential drops and adds to my bum list. You're not dropping Schwellenbach in any format anywhere. 100% no. Max Meyer is about a 90% no. You don't want to drop either one of those guys. I know they've been bad, Angelo, here, but no, we're not dropping those guys. So please don't make that decision. Keep those guys, especially Schwellenbach. Shota Imanaga, no big deal. Cramps, hamstring's a little tight. Now they're running an MRI. Hopefully the MRI is clean. It doesn't show anything. But it's going to be run today, and then we'll see with Imanaga. And obviously this is a huge concern for the Padres and for us in the fantasy space because Imanaga is just very good. I mean, he's just very consistent. He takes the ball. He's been durable to this point of his big league career. We'll see. And we talk about this a lot. When you have any kind of injury as a pitcher, it's really tough to keep pitching because any part of your body that gets off kilter can cause another part of your body to go off kilter. And the Cubs, especially with this hot start, might think, hey, we got a couple of weeks here with Imanaga. We can tread water, still be in the playoff hunt. Maybe they think, well, we might actually be in this playoff hunt after all. So maybe they want to have him later. So we'll see. If you have Imanaga on your team, you can't be starting him this week. I think that's a mistake. I already said that in Discord when someone asked, do I start him? I'm like, I can't recommend starting Imanaga this week. I wouldn't recommend that you do that either. So be very cautious with him. Let's fingers crossed we don't get bad news today. Good news, going the other direction. George Kirby, who's dealing with a shoulder issue, pitched 3 innings on Sunday, threw 33 strikes and 42 pitches. And that's the calling card, obviously, of Kirby. He doesn't beat himself. He throws darts. We know that. To see him go out there and do that, that's great news. He's going to have to continue to build up and all of that. Hopefully at some point this month. Hopefully Logan Gilbert at some point this month too. We got an update over the weekend. Both Gilbert and Kirby hearing positive news with their injuries, that they're trending in the right direction. Hopefully they'll both be back pitching this month for the Mariners. Really good first outing for George Kirby. Very heartening as he works his way back from a shoulder injury that was no big deal. That's going to end up costing him almost 2 months. Keep that in mind with Corbin. Lance McCullers threw 3 2/3 innings against the White Sox on Sunday. Didn't allow a run. You might wonder why he threw 3 2/3 innings. You probably think to yourself, well, it's his first start back, and they had him on a 65 pitch count, and he threw 87 pitches. 87 pitches and not getting through 4 innings. Oof. I'm really surprised the Astros let him do that. Now, again, at the end of the day, it was the White Sox, and he didn't allow a run, but that's a lot of. Ideally, you want to be in the 15, 18 pitch zone per inning pitched. Obviously, 87 in less than 4 innings was well over 20. That's not good. That's not sustainable long term, right? If you're throwing 100 pitches to get through 5 innings, you're not going to be a starter for very long in most instances. Or you're certainly not going to be going more than 5 innings. Positive overall for McCullers. He looked okay, and he didn't allow any runs, and he battled through it. Negative for him, of course, is that this is a heavy workload in his first game back in a short time span. We don't know how many innings he's going to be able to pitch long term anyway. His next start seems to be against the Reds. As I talked about last week with McCullers, you can add him if you want. I'm just not. I wish him the best because he seems like a good dude, and he's dealt with so many injuries. But I just can't summon up the, hey, here's the stamp of approval to add him. There's too many question marks for me with Lance McCullers. Blade Tidwell, who some people were excited about, who it seemed likely would only make a single start, is indeed going to make a single start because he was optioned to AAA. Was called up when the team needed him. Yes. I'm sorry, I got a note from Phil Backert. Hey, am I looking at that? Hey, Phil. Blade Tidwell gave up 6 runs in 3 2/3 innings against the Cardinals. I didn't tell anyone to add Tidwell. Hopefully you didn't add Tidwell. He pitched terribly in terms of the results. He's been demoted as kind of anticipated. And, this is just a reminder that be cautious with these young guys. Sometimes young guys, Kobe Mayo, who we'll talk about in a few minutes. So you don't know, but what do you do? In the case of Tidwell, it always seemed like he was going to be demoted. So hopefully you didn't dive into the deep end of the pool there, because that just didn't work out. I know a lot of people were excited about Ranger Suarez returning to the rotation for the Phillies. We heard that the team might go at some point to a 6-man rotation, but right now Taijuan Walker is going to the bullpen. Suarez returns from the injury list, and boom, 10 outs, 7 runs. Now he struck out 6 guys, which is pretty good, especially for Ranger Suarez. But that's set to face the Guardians on the road next time out after this first outing where he was not sharp whatsoever. I'm not telling people this week to start Suarez. I think obviously most of you won't be doing that either because of this rough first outing. The good news is he appears to be healthy, right? And given time, he'll be average to better. I think there obviously has been a period of time in his past where he's been a superstar for like half the season last year, and then he's a solid pitcher. He's not a star. He's a solid pitcher. If he can stay healthy, the numbers and the performance almost certainly will improve from what we saw yesterday. But that was a rough return against that Diamondbacks team. Pitching against the Diamondbacks ain't easy. Pimping ain't easy. Pitching against the Diamondbacks ain't easy either. Cole Ragans will start today for the Royals against the White Sox. He missed just a single start with the groin injury. It is worth pointing out that Cole Ragans last threw 5 innings in a big league game on April 13th. It is now May 5th. It's been a while. Fire him up. Really good news that he only missed the 1 start. We'll obviously hope that he goes out there today and throws 95 pitches without any setbacks or anything like that. But against the White Sox in that matchup, I think you have to feel pretty comfortable in a seasonal scenario, at least, starting Cole Ragans. All right. JP Sears allowed a couple of runs, 4 hits, and 6 1/3 innings against the Marlins. And Sears continues to get it done. His ERA is in the 2s. And he's somebody that's been picked up everywhere. I can't imagine there's any leagues where JP Sears is on the waiver wire, unless you're in a head-to-head 10-team league where people are just picking him up and dropping him to stream him. 7 starts in, his WHIP is 1, and his ERA is 2.9. This is terrific. The problem for him is that none of that is sustainable. His 20% strikeout rate is actually better than last year. Still really poor mark. He does not miss enough bats. His 4% walk rate, even though he doesn't throw a lot of balls, right? He keeps the ball in play and that kind of thing. 4% walk rate is about half his career number. That's going up. The batting average of balls in play would be a 4-year low. The left on base percentage would be a 4-year high. You know the storyline here, right? There's a lot of fly balls. Those fly balls eventually be home runs. A 7% home run to fly ball ratio. Ooh, his fly ball rate's 46%. So when that 7% home run to fly ball ratio becomes 10, 12, 13%, as it will, that ERA starts shooting up really quickly. So be very cautious with Sears. He's pitching quite effectively, but they're in the Yankees are the next start. The Yankees hit 3 home runs against him. That's in play. So be cautious with JP Sears. Jackson Holliday went 3 for 4 with 2 solo home runs on Sunday. That's 4 home runs on the year. Holliday is not really, he's not lived up to expectations. There's no way around that. He just hasn't. And even this year when the expectations were low, the results have been very moderate. But we forget, I don't, a lot of people do, that Jackson Holliday a year ago was the toast of baseball, right? Number 1 prospect in baseball. He's now hitting 270 with a 780 OPS. And if he does that all season long, that would be right in line with expectations. 4 home runs, 2 steals. Let's call it, 15 home runs, 10 steals. Again, this is what I've been saying all along with him at this point of his career, of his development. If he hits 270, 15 home runs, 10 steals, we're in good shape. That's what we're basically seeing from him right now. Now, again, the expectations are he's going to hit 320 with 28 home runs, just not there yet in his development. But note that he's really started to hit here. The last 2 weeks, he's batting 380 with 1,000 OPS. He's actually 7 for his last 15. So, there are some leagues, I'm sure, where Jackson Holliday is available. He's really starting to hit the ball well, produced quite effectively. He might qualify at shortstop and second base, depending on your setup. He's played shortstop 5 times this year. He's on the waiver wire. He probably shouldn't be. Give it a look-see, just check it out. Yordan Alvarez, Yordan Alvarez has had a rough year. And there always seems to be something going on with him. And I've said it many, many, many times that, if healthy, and I'm not the only one saying this. If healthy, he's a superstar. He's as good an offensive. Let me say this again. He's as good a hitter as pretty much anyone in the game. And I'm saying everyone. Betts, Ohtani, Judge, when he's right. Problem is he's never right. And, it's always the knee. We're always worried about his legs and everything. Now he's got a hand issue. Didn't play yesterday because of the hand issue. Didn't play Saturday because of the hand issue. They're saying it's not a big deal. I'm nervous. I have him in one league. I only have him in one league. It's my dynasty league, of course. And I can set the lineup twice in that one, Monday and Friday. As much as I want to have him active, I'm leaning toward just not playing him this week, at least in the first half of the week. So we'll see. We'll hopefully get an update early on here with him before lineups lock this week. But there's concern about Yordan Alvarez in the short term. Again, no long-term concern from what we're hearing, but still concern in the short term. Ivan Herrera has got some soreness in his left knee. He's coming back from injury. Doesn't sound like a major thing for Herrera, but it might cause him to miss delay things a couple of days as he works his way back from that left knee. It's not odd to hear him say, I caught my knee's a little sore. Well, yeah, you're out with a knee injury. It makes sense. Number one. Number two, you have to work back in. There's a difference between, riding on a treadmill or a bike or lifting some weights and actually playing a game. So I understand that. Seems very likely that Herrera is back this week for the Cardinals. He was obviously off to a tremendous start, including that 3 home run game. We'll see how quickly he does return. But good news that he's close. I think this is just a minor setback. At least that's what we've been told to this point. Let's hope that reporting is accurate because you never know for sure. Victor Scott. I saw somebody who's got a pretty major platform recently say that it's time to pick up Victor Scott. I was saying pick up Victor Scott in January. Talked about him on the show over and over again in the preseason. Over and over again. Over and over again. And some people in the fantasy space are just waking up to Victor Scott last week. Victor Scott's up to 11 steals. Batting 280. He's got a 350 on-base percentage. This is as good as it possibly could have been. Now, he's been dropped to the bottom of the order. Mason Wynn's now taken over the second spot behind Lars Nootbaar. So they've dropped Scott down to the bottom third, which was always a potential outcome here. But we've also talked about this. While getting dropped down might ding him in his run production a little bit, it also opens you up to run. If you're hitting second, you don't want to be running into outs necessarily if you got 3-4 hitters coming up. If you're hitting eighth, you're on base, and it's a ninth guy, steal, right? Scott's first month plus here has been terrific. He's cemented himself in the lineup for the Cardinals. He is performing exactly as expected. I wouldn't look at that slash line and say any of that is outstanding from what my expectations were. Would I expect him to hit 286 all year? No, I'd expect that number to come down, but he could hit 270, 265. And if he does and his on-base percentage comes down a little bit at 330, guess what? He's stealing 50 bases. We talked about this all preseason. So while other people out there might be saying to themselves, oh, go get Victor Scott, hopefully you all remember the conversation we had months ago where we talked about Victor Scott and the fact that what he's doing right now very likely could have been what you should have expected if he was in the lineup every day. We found out he was going to be in the lineup every day in spring. Here we go. Kyle's got a question here before we talk some FAAB. What are your thoughts on Alcantara the rest of the season? JP Sears on the wire too. Truly to pull the trigger to replace Sandy with JP Sears. Kyle, I would encourage you and everyone else, as I said earlier in the show, to go to fantasyguru.com and check out the rankings. The rankings have been updated. They are updated the first of every month. And I think there's 150 starting pitchers that have been updated in there. We talked about Sears earlier. Sears is pitching very well. Just to point it out, I have Sears as starting pitcher number 81 right now. Alcantara's a little bit ahead of him. I would still hold on to Alcantara. Alcantara's been a mess based upon a lot of people's expectations of, stardom, but really good work this season. He's still a guy that I would hold on to over Sears. Sears just does not profile as somebody to get overly excited about. They're back-to-back in the rankings, so as you can tell, it wasn't like a slam dunk here for me because I have to be honest with what I'm seeing with Alcantara. But as we talked about earlier with Sears, he's more of a streamer for me long-term. It's just, and though I have Alcantara ranked in that same zone, there's more strikeout potential with Alcantara. There's always a chance he gets traded. That rumor's kind of floating around. If he gets traded to a scenario where he's got a better opportunity for victories, you're not going to be negative about that, or another better environment, that kind of thing. So it's close, but I would hold on to Alcantara there, Kyle. Okay, let's see here. If I could get the FAAB up. Here we go. Let's talk some FAAB. This is the LABR 15-team mixed league draft. $100 to spend in this traditional 5x5 setup. Now, remember in this setup, for those of you that don't remember or have never been here before, welcome. The LABR League, if you add a player, they have to go into your lineup. No matter who it is, if you add a player, they have to go into your lineup. So if you add an injured player, you got to take a 0 all week. So that's difficult. Number one. Number two, you have to have money left to add players. You cannot add a player for $0 at any point. So you always have to keep money in reserve. So everyone's a little cautious with bidding because late in the year you're going to need to make moves because guys are going to be hurt, right? And you have to have at least $1 for every move you make. So kind of slow play this a little bit. So let's look at some of the bids here. Gunnar Hoagland of the Athletics, $6 to Dr. Roto, a bunch of failed bids, including one of mine for $3. 3, 2, 2, 2. Hoagland's not a lock to stay in the Athletics rotation. He looked really good, or he was pretty good the first time out. He has got great stuff. He's just dealt with a lot of starts and stops through his minor league career. It's unclear if he or JT Ginn will hold on to the spot. I kind of leaning toward Ginn holding the spot there. But Hoagland is very intriguing. And in a league that's 15 teams, like I said, I bid on him for $3. I understand it. There is that uncertainty with performance and role. So hopefully no one went crazy there. You can pick up Hoagland if you want right now and see how it goes. And there's always a chance he's the guy. It's not Tidwell that people were talking about. And it could end up being Hoagland, the guy that from the weekend that we just ran through the FAAB that ends up stepping forward. Ha-Seong Kim went to $5 here in this league. And there's a failed bids for $1 and $2. Happy Cinco de Mayo to you too, pal. I just saw that pop up. Happy Cinco de Mayo to you and everybody else. Ha-Seong Kim is back right now. Tommy Edman's been placed on the injured list. It's not expected to be a long-term injury with Edman. Obviously, Edman has performed so well and his track record and all that. When he returns to health, he's back in the lineup. Makes it very difficult on Kim long-term because I just don't know where Kim fits in this team, right? Kim can steal a base. I think that's probably his number one trait right now. He hit down on the farm, was fine. He wasn't, it was fine. It wasn't great. I guess they're comfortable enough with where he's at. And obviously they have the opportunity with Edman out that Kim was promoted. Kim could find a way to be in this lineup consistently, moving a little bit here, a little bit there, in and out of the lineup. He's probably super sub zone. Again, I'm just not short-term very excited about this unless we hear Tommy Edman's going to miss 6 weeks with his ankle injury, which we're not hearing. Really tough to get excited about Kim. Ryan Mountcastle for $5, failed bids for 2 and 1. We've talked about Mountcastle a lot. You also have to remember that, 15-team league, we have 14 hitters that start in this setup. Corner infield, middle infield, UT, 14 total hitters starting. A guy hitting 22 home runs with 79 RBIs, like some teams need that. And we'll see some moves we'll see a move that I made here in a second that I don't have the certainty that Brian Mountcastle has. So, that's how it goes. In fact, let's talk about it right now. Blaine Krim. I went $4 there on Blaine Krim. I could have gotten Mountcastle for the same price. I wouldn't have got him. He went for $5. So there you go. Wouldn't have mattered. I had kind of a cap here because I didn't look at anyone this week and think this guy's an outstanding player. But Krim has been called up to, in essence, take the spot of Jake Berger. You and I both know how this goes. Berger goes down to the minors. He goes 8 for 22, hits 3 home runs. He's back in the big leagues in a week. He goes down there and struggles and strikes out 30% of the time. Maybe it's 2, 3, 4 weeks. We don't know. In the meantime, Krim should play most days for the Rangers, and we'll see how that goes. There's an opportunity for him, and we say it all the time. It's not just where's your skill set at with Krim. It's, are you going to have a role? Right now, but maybe he carves out a role. He was down on the farm killing it, hitting .313, 7 home runs, 25 RBIs in 28 games played. 17% strikeout rate too, which is really intriguing. So we'll see with Krim. I'm throwing a dart there. Not at all confident it's going to work out because, again, playing time is a legit concern, but $4, 4% of the budget on a guy that should be part of a really good lineup that hasn't been very good thus far, but should be that guy moving forward. Freddie Fermin, who got hurt in that league? What do we got here? I'm trying to remember who I lost. Oh, Kyle Higashioka. Kyle Higashioka, this is the game that we play, right? This is so fun. I had Fermin, he didn't hit. I picked up Higashioka. Higashioka gets hurt. I go back to Freddie Fermin. On a positive note, Fermin is 7 for his last 15. And again, a 2-catcher league, 15 teams, this is what you got to do. Most of you probably don't play in those setups, but that's unfortunately what I have in this setup. Up next here, Miles Mikolas for $2 to me. Why would you grab Miles Mikolas, right? Well, he's facing the Pirates. I know there's a couple of Pirates that have good batter's pitcher information against them. I needed an arm. So took a shot. And, you know, in this league, I've got Luis Castillo, who's been great of late, but overall, yeah. Shane Bass, who's been poor of late, but overall great. Same thing with Nick Lodolo, right? Bryce Miller, kind of just Robbie Ray, Logan Webb, Luke Weaver, Camilo Duvall. Like, I've got some pieces here. So this team is not grading out very well right now in the standings. I think, where am I at in the standings? I'm 13th out of 15 teams right now. And the reason, in the pitching categories, I'm actually 5th. I'm second to last in hitting. Yeah, I know. So let's come through, Krim and Freddie for me. I haven't had Ronald Acuna yet. The guy I took like in the last round to replace Acuna early on, Chris Bryant. Okay. Evan Carter, he's been demoted, though Evan Carter's killing it in the minor leagues. I just lost Tristan Casas to his knee injury. Garrett Mitchell went down hasn't gone well for the offense in that league, but at least I have some options now in the short term. Okay. Javier Baez went for $4, bunch of failed bids for him. Baez qualifies at multiple positions. Baez is, he's hitting it very well right now. 3 home runs, 4 home runs of late. What was it? Let's pull it up. His numbers are impressive on the surface. The issue with Javier Baez, 3 home runs the last 5 games. The issue with Baez is that nothing has really changed in his overall game. So it's really hard to get excited about the production. He still only has 1 steal, still not really driving the baseball. Positive side of things, he could qualify at second base, third base, and outfield. Shortstop, third base, and outfield, which is really nice, right? So, again, that price point, totally fair and fine. Just tough to get excited about him, which is, again, why no one even went to $5. Remember, Ryne Mountcastle went for $5. Lance McCullers for $3. We talked about him. Eli White for $3. Eli White, who's Eli White? Right? And it's like, I get it. Eli White playing with Atlanta, he's, actually hitting 300 this year. He's got a 900 OPS this year. Yeah, he does. He's actually 8 for his last 23. He's gotten 333 the last 2 weeks. Like 11 runs in 12 games. Like, no one's talking about Eli White. I bid on him in the league. I think it was my keeper league. I bid like $9 out of 1,000, didn't get him. But I have to check that too, by the way. Good reminding me, guys. Thank you. I'm reminding myself. But that's a fair bid, $3 there, and you can see a couple others were in at that $1 and $2 price point. Sagano went for $3. The failed bids for 3 and 1. You're playing with fire with Sagano. I'm playing with fire with Mikolas. Take your pick. Pick your poison. They're basically the same kind of guy, right? So here we go. Sagano this week. Let's take a look at the matchups. I want to say it's not as good. Oh, it is better. It's actually against the Angels. The Angels kill lefties, but they struggle a little bit with righties, and obviously Trout is out. So there's that. Okay, Agnos was picked up for $2. He could be the closer of the Rockies if anyone cares. AJ Smith-Shawver went for $2. Tyler Ferguson for $1. Tyler Ferguson's a very good pickup. He's obviously not closing with Mason Miller despite that bad effort last time out for Miller. But Ferguson's been really good for about a year and a half now. Joel Johnsky Noel went for $1. He's playing a lot now. They're trying to find something with the Guardians. Nolan Jones isn't hitting. Tyler Anderson for $1. Tyler Anderson is boring. He's old. He can't keep up his current pace. Faces Toronto on Tuesday and then Baltimore on Sunday. And by the way, just to put it out there, Baltimore can't hit lefties. Not a bad pickup there by Fred Zinke at all. All right, let's go to the next league. This is the FSGA 14-team mixed league. In this league, we have $1,000 to spend. You can pick up players in the morning. So today you can go and make a move this morning if you want, right? So this is the one league I have that has the open waiver wire after FAAB runs. As you can see there at the top of the screen, I got Tanner Houck and I overpaid. I had my first bid was 46. Then I put it 69, then 76. And in the end, I went to $89. I'm in 3rd place in this league. All right. Did I overpay to get Houck? Yes. Why did I do it? Because I need a guy. Here's my pitching staff. I just lost Justin Martinez. I just lost AJ Puck. My starting pitcher, Merrill Kelly, he's supposed to be okay, but he dealt with cramps, had to be removed from his last outing. I'm having to start Dennis Santana and Brian Abreu right now. Like, it's just not. So I add Tanner Houck. He faces Texas later this week. It's one of those scenarios where we'll see how it goes with Tanner Houck. He looked fantastic last time out against the Blue Jays. The ball was darting and diving everywhere. I mean, they couldn't square him up. He gave up the 1 run in the 7 innings, had 6 strikeouts. Tanner Houck was somebody I wrote about. There's a player profile on him over at FG. So everyone could read that. I think he's slightly better than league average. But given the way my pitching staff was kind of coming together, that works for me. So I was comfortable spending that amount. Obviously, it should have been a $19 bid, but I got my guy, and we'll see how that goes. Hogan, we just talked about 7% of the budget here. He was 6% in the other league. So similar price points here. AJ Smith-Shawver went for 67 with failed bids for 9, 9, and 8. So the Shawver bid was just as bad as the Houck bid, basically. We both did the same thing. Fantasy Alarm team did what I did, and they got their guy. So we'll see how that goes for them. Shawver is somebody that everyone keeps getting excited and talking about, and I get it, but he just can't really break through, whether it's health or, being able to stick in the rotation. Still a young guy, still tons of promise, but there's just that uncertainty with, what you're really getting there. He's set to face Cincinnati today. But also Pittsburgh later in the week. So he's a 2-start guy. The second one against Pittsburgh is a little bit more appealing, obviously. They're shooting their shot there with him. For me, Tanner Houck with Boston. I forget who he faces. Who does he face? Let's pull this up real quickly. He faces Texas, who we've talked about has just not hit very well. And then next week's in Detroit with his first outing of the week. Okay, Ty France for 57. Failed bids there. A lot of overspending this week in terms of what people spent versus the back secondary bids, right? And again, this is the nature of the beast. If you have $1,000, you got 26 weeks. Like, what are you going to spend? $40 a week, something like that. $45 a week. You can do it on one guy. You can do it on multiple players. A lot of these guys obviously are not very expensive. Everyone's kind of in the $3 to $8 or 3 to 8% zone. So a lot of moves being, even though this is a deeper league, that's people kind of just searching here. Ty France for 57. Ty France is fine. I don't, whatever, right? I think that single dollar bids are much more appropriate for him. But again, you got to get your guys sometimes. Agnos here for $4% of the budget. Javier Baez, 4% of the budget. Basically the same thing. Look at all the failed bids for Baez, and they're all in that same spot, right? 19, 31, 15, 16, 26. So that's should tell you something. In 14 and 15 team mixed leagues, people are in the 3 to 5% range for Javier Baez. So let's keep our expectations in check with Baez. Matt Shaw added for 34, failed bid for 26. That's a good addition. That is a really good addition, if we're being honest, because there is a very reasonable expectation that he could be called up at some point soon here. You don't see it here because I actually did it this morning. I added Evan Carter this morning. That was my shot on the youngster. Kobe Mayo awarded for $13 to Fantasy Sherpa. Failed bids for Mayo for 8 and 12. Being open with everybody. I had a higher bid than 13. I had a $60 bid on Mayo. Well, Ray, why aren't you on there? Because I got to. Oh, what was it this league? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm not even doing it right. Let me verify before I waiver-wire report. I think this is the league it was. Yeah, okay. On RT Sports, I had an open spot because I placed someone on the injured list. The system doesn't recognize the order that you put the bids in. It kind of does it all at one time. So though I had an open spot and then was making a secondary move, so I should have been able to make 2 moves. The system only recognized that I had 1 open spot and only made 1 move. So it invalidated my Kobe Mayo bid, which is why I went this morning and picked up Evan Carter off the waiver wire. But I had a $69 bid on Mayo. We don't know how long Mayo is up with the Orioles. It's a total shot in the dark. Mayo might be the number 1, now he's promoted, but the number 1 power hitting prospect in all of baseball that was in the minors. He's going to get a chance to play here in the short term with the Orioles. It's the quintessential, if he hits, he stays. If he looks okay or struggles, they demote him back down. There is no clarity whatsoever on how long Mayo is going to be up. It could be 2 weeks. Could be 10 days, right? So it's just one of those shot in the dark kind of things. Again, 5 to 7% bid on Mayo in a league this size. Totally valid, totally warranted. If you want to pick him up in your league and hope he gets healthy, I'm not against that. I mean, hope he gets healthy. Hope he hits well enough while others are not healthy to stick in the lineup. That's fine. The problem for the Orioles is it really is hard to see where he fits unless someone truly goes down with an injury, like a 2-week thing here and there. Someone has to go down with an injury. There's always a chance they trade Mayo for pitching. That's got to be something that's thought of here. And if he goes, he can be Connor Norby, right? Go to another team playing every day, and all of a sudden we want to play him. So very intriguing addition there with him. Let's see here. Hae-Sung Kim went for 3% of the budget here. Very similar to last time out. JP Crawford, really interesting, $24, and someone lost at 23. Oh. In fact, I want to say that, I had 26 on Crawford. It was in that same bid group that I didn't get because the system didn't recognize it. So I guess I would have actually won by $2 over JP Crawford. Crawford has been fantastic. It's obviously not going to continue, but he's basically cemented himself again as the leadoff hitter for the Mariners. The last 2 weeks, hitting .380 with 13 RBIs in 11 games. Moderate offensive player, doesn't have a lot of power, is not going to steal bases. It's why the bids are so low despite the strong performance of him. He's just not somebody that you should get overly excited about, certainly in shallow leagues. Sean Burke for 19, Lance McCullers for 15, Miguel Vargas, who's picked things up of late. Look at this, Miguel Vargas for 14, bids at 13 and 12. So right there. He has gotten better of late. He is a former high-end hitting prospect. He's now part of the White Sox organization. He should be in the lineup every day. He just hasn't hit. Should qualify at third base and maybe outfield in most leagues. He's hit .350 with a .950 OPS the last 2 weeks. Is he finally fulfilling expectations? But he's an everyday player, and he's going to continue to be an everyday player on the White Sox team. They have no reason not to just continue to roll him out there, even if he struggles. So totally supported price point there on that bid. Kevin Ginkel for 12 might be the new closer for the Diamondbacks. We don't know. We've talked about that. Drew Waters for 5, Fernando Cruz for 3, and Dane Myers, who has been killing it quietly. Quietly killing it, I guess is a better way to say it, for the Marlins. Not in the lineup every day. Still got a little bit of a platoon thing going on, but when he's out there, he's been just a superstar. He went for $2 there to USA Today. Okay, fine. Let's go to the Tout Wars expenditures. And you can see there on the bottom, let's start out with my team. I didn't make any moves per se this week. Why didn't I make any moves? Because as you can see there, I had multiple players coming back from the injured list. I had Tyler Stevenson, who was drafted to be me at catcher 1 in this 15-team mixed league where you have $1,000 to spend. Tout Wars is on-base percentage instead of batting average. It's inning pitched instead of wins. It's solds instead of saves. So Stevenson was my guy. He's going to have a .350 on base percentage and be, catcher number 9 this season, right? That was my hope. Missed all of April with the injury. He's now back. So Elias Diaz is sent packing. His roster spot goes to Tyler Stevenson. The next call, Brandon Marsh is back. Brandon Marsh has been disappointing. He was kind of disappointing last year, but still was basically 15-15. Nolan Jones was my drop this week. Nolan Jones just hasn't hit. And there is underlying batted ball data with Nolan Jones that strongly suggests his numbers to date are not deserved. They should be better. At the same time, he's losing playing time and he's not producing. And at some point, even in a league this deep, you just got to make a decision. So Brandon Marsh came back and it was either Marsh or Jones. I kept Marsh. A better ballpark to hit in, a better lineup to hit in, a guy with some speed. We'll see. It's not a power move by any means. I felt kind of dirty dropping Jones, but it was the move I had to make. And so there it was. That's the move that I did make. All right, let's look at the rest of the league. Bubba Chandler was added for $58. This one is interesting because Tout Wars is another one of those leagues where you have to have the player active if you roster him. So Zach Steinhorn adds Bubba Chandler for $58. Price point's totally fine. Bubba Chandler's probably going to be promoted here pretty short order by the Pirates and might be the number 1 pitcher we haven't seen yet. But Zach is going to have to take a 0 all week. And again, at the end of the day, if Chandler makes 17 starts this year and they're good 1 week, okay. But that's why Chandler's just sitting on the waiver wire, because Zach's going to have to take a 0 this week in one of his 9 pitching spots. So aggressive by Zach. I kind of like it. That was $58. Dave Myers for 4% of the budget here. We just talked about him. It's Matt Searholm. He also added Cuero for $19. Yeah, Cuero is the guy that was added there. I kept wanting to make a move, but I kept thinking to myself, because Diaz has kind of slowed the last couple of weeks, and he's really not doing anything, and he's sharing pitching, time behind the dish with Maldonado. I kept wanting to make a move, but it's like maybe I should have just spent like $4 or $5 on like Cuero and just gone for it. It was just one of those scenarios where I didn't. There just wasn't a need because I didn't have that. What I did do is I grabbed Agustin Ramirez. So this is how catchers go, right? I had Tyler Stevenson, then I added Andy Rodriguez, and Rodriguez got hurt. Then I added Elias Diaz. Then I added Agustin Ramirez. So now I've got Ramirez and Stevenson, which is in theory really good. We'll see how that goes. I feel much better about my catching spot than I did a while ago, though. Ramirez, for those people that haven't been looking, is 1 for his last 24. Oh, come on, Ramirez. Okay, next up here, Jordan Hicks for 29, Griffin Canning for 27. Remember, this is a innings pitched league instead of victories. Hicks and Canning's pitched much better than expected. Hicks, all the stuff is tantalizing, but he can't seem to find the consistency since he's gone to the Giants. He just can't. Canning has changed up his pitch mix a little bit, and he's an intriguing addition. Absolutely. King was added because, again, remember, this is a Souls league. King's doing a great job there to the bullpen for Houston. Kobe Mayo went for 11% of the budget here. Totally get it. In this league, I didn't bid here. Why? Because at first base, I've got Torkelson. I've got Josh Young on the bench. At third base, I've got Nolan Arenado at third base. And I've got Paul Goldschmidt. I just don't need corner infield help. So just wasn't able to get involved there. But I don't mind that aggressiveness by DVR. Getting Kobe Mayo. Lee Evans for 22. Meredith for 25. Meredith is back and figures to play every day up the middle, and he should be able to get on base. We talked about him here on the show. Not a lot of power, not a lot of speed, but that's a price point no one's going to look askance at. Luis Urias, because, again, Jeff Pontus had to get his guy. He overspent for 64 for Urias. Jordan Westbrook down with injury. He needed to make a move. He also added Cannon for 17. Javier Baez went for 18 here. It's an on-base percentage league, and he will not have a good on-base percentage when it's all said and done. So 18 there for him. Pagan went for 7 because it's a Souls league, because everyone rightfully looks at all the data with Pagan and is, I don't know if panic's the right word, but kind of extremely concerned with Pagan. He went for 7 here. Varsho went for 127. Joe Rico lost Fitzgerald, obviously different positions, but lost Fitzgerald to injury. Picked up Varsho, who's come back and had a good start batting cleanup for Toronto. Ryan Nelson, we talked about earlier, that's a good addition. Romy Gonzalez for $11. Ostensibly, he's going to be the first baseman for the moment with the Red Sox. Lance McCullers for 5. Brooks Lee for 27. Miguel Earnhardt for 0. Andrew McCutcheon for 37. And Valdez for $8. So that was the spending there in Tout Wars. So we do this every Monday where I go through the free agency and the price points and all that for those 3 leagues. So stay tuned for that. Tuesday, we'll talk to Armando Marsal. All the guests about 12:30 Eastern Standard Time. Armando will come on with me tomorrow and talk football. He'll be on with Justin Fensterman on Wednesday and talk basketball. Tyler Beaker will be on Thursday for football, and Russell Clay on Friday for football. We'll talk. We did last week with Tyler and Russell. Tyler on Thursday last week, we talked quarterbacks, the rookie class. We then talked running backs with Russell Clay on Friday. This week, we'll talk wide receivers with Tyler Beaker on Thursday. And on Friday, we'll talk tight ends with Russell Clay. Is it Warren or Loveland? We'll talk about that. So I lied. I said we wouldn't talk football on the show, just a little bit here on the show. A couple of comments here. EIEIO says, how much impact does Chandler Simpson have the rest of the season compared to Andy Pages and Jonathan Aranda? Simpson seems like the rare Hamilton speedster who can actually hit. EIEIO, we've talked a lot about Simpson on the show. I just updated the rankings at fantasyguru.com. Simpson is a star in the fantasy space if you're playing 5x5. He's a star. You saw it the other day. He came in late in the game in the 8th inning, stole 2nd and 3rd. He is that Hamilton speedster who can hit. It's the same thing I've been saying since the day he was promoted. So you've got it right, I think. He's absolutely rest of the season a much better option than either Pages or Aranda. Same time, different positions. Same time, those other 2 guys have power. So it depends on what your fit and need is with Simpson. Someone asked me a question in Discord earlier today, and they had both Simpson and Scott. It's like you can't really have both those guys because those two guys could, in theory, steal 120 bases, but they might also hit 7 home runs. Like it's just, and drive in, 75 runs combined. Like it's just tough. So Simpson absolutely will outpace, as long as he stays healthy, he will outpace those other two guys in fantasy value, not even a question. But it doesn't mean it's the right move for your team because, because you say right here, I could also use a power bat. Simpson is the last guy on that list of the 3 for power. So, you're Simpson and Scott. Yeah, we talked about it in Discord. You can't really have, you can, I'm not saying you can, but you really can't have both guys because they're the same dude and they're the same limited player. They'll kill it in the one category. You won't lose in batting average with either one of these guys, and they'll kill it in steals. Home runs, RBIs, Aranda could have as many home runs and RBIs as that duo combined the rest of the season. That's certainly possible. So it really matters. So trade Scott. You could trade Scott. You could also trade Simpson, who probably brings back more. So I would trade one of the two because, again, I think it's very difficult to roster two guys that have an outstanding skill set in one respect and have holes in their game in another respect, and they both match. So I would look to trade one of the two, and the answer is who you trade, what's the return? You can always send those further questions over to me at Discord at fantasyguru.com. Happy to answer them. Thanks for listening and watching, everybody, today. Tell a friend about the show. All the goodness here that we got going on. We'll be back tomorrow with Armando Marsal. We'll talk some football. Remember, you can always find the show, Twitter X at Fantasy Guru site, Facebook.com/FantasyGuruHQ, YouTube.com/@ElitePlusNetwork. Click the Elite Plus tab at the top of the page at FantasyGuru.com and type in Fantasy Sports Daily to your podcast network. And you can find the show stored in all those places and all the goodness. Send a note to support@FantasyGuru.com, support@FantasyGuru.com, or click the subscribe tab in the top right corner at FG. May the 4th be with you. A day late. Happy Cinco de Mayo on the right date. Have a good Monday, folks. We'll talk again tomorrow here on Fantasy Sports Daily, powered by FantasyGuru.com.